Welcome to the Thought Balloons podcast. I am your host, Jeff Fulsham. With me today is a good friend of mine, a wonderful streamer on Twitch, an artist, and a tattooist, our first tattooist on the show. Welcome to the show, Dozy.
Hello. Thank you for having me.
How have you been? It's been a while since I've been able to catch a show of yours on the Twitch, as I am typically sleeping when you're streaming.
Yeah, no, it's understandable. I wish I could stream later in the day. But I have a I have a shared office basically, and my partner works, so I can't stay up all night. Yeah.
That's fair.
Yeah.
That's fair. Also, I sleep at stupid times for where I live anyway.
Yeah, I mean, same. This is how I get to like find the weirdest streams on Twitch. I find like the ones
Right.
where I'm up at like 5 a.m. is when all the like weirdos in America start coming out. Because it's like late for them as well. So yeah.
Right. Yeah. I think 5 for you would be midnight for me.
Yeah. Like the late night shows start coming on.
Yeah.
It's even
Yeah.
weirder when I wake up early because I had like a week of waking up randomly at like 5, 6 in the morning. And I would come on to the computer and they'd be like, one of the guys, he was on your podcast, Major Grunge. I'll be like catching his stream first thing in the morning, and it's kind of surreal to see that early in the morning.
Oh yeah. Waking up first thing in the morning and seeing grunge on that's a vibe to start your day for sure.
It's a good vibe. It's a good morning, I have to say. Yeah. Could be
Enjoyable, but
worse.
I can understand the descriptor of surreal when it comes to
Yeah.
grunge. Definitely. Um, yeah, but yeah, no, I end up sleeping just at weird times because I don't have like a physical job to go to, and I am currently self-employed, so I kind of make my own schedule, which is you can be good, has its benefits, but when it comes, for at least for me, when it comes to having a routine and a sleep schedule, that no, does not.
Yeah, I'm pretty similar, to be fair. Like I um I mean, well, one of the reasons my name is Dozy is because I have always struggled with my sleep being at normal recommended times of day. Basically, I used to fall asleep
Fair.
in school, which is where the nickname originated from.
Gotcha.
Because my name's Rosanna, and my friend's stepdad, I believe, coined the term Dozy Rosie, so all my friends started calling me Dozy. And it's just kind of stuck from there on. But it turned out years later, it was only like 5 years ago or something. I got diagnosed with sleep apnea. So it's like, oh, okay, that
Gotcha.
explains a lot. That's why I was falling asleep in lessons and getting
Right.
letters sent home to my parents and stuff. So yeah.
No, I mean, the struggle is real. Struggle is
Yeah,
real. I
it is.
definitely, I have been told by my dad that he thinks that I have sleep apnea as well. So
I would recommend checking it out because I didn't realize how much better my life could be until I got the CPAP, which is
Mm,
the like, it's basically, for those who don't know, it's like a machine I have to wear to bed every night that like pumps air through my throat to keep it open so I don't like, my throat doesn't close up and block my airways in the night, which is what an apnea is. So but it
right.
works like straight away. And I was like, I felt like a new woman. Like, oh my God, I can go a whole day without having a nap. What is this? Like, I can actually get a job again and I'm not falling asleep at my desk or at the one time at an industrial sewing machine. That wasn't an ideal place to fall asleep. So, you
Yeah,
know,
no, that doesn't.
I would highly recommend, if you are ever suspicious you have it, try and get it sorted because you will feel so much better for it. Yeah, it's annoying having to wear a mask, but also like it's really bad for your heart if you don't sort it out, which I didn't know either. And I have high blood pressure. So like the two of
Yeah.
those things, if I'd left them unchecked, could have been bad news.
Yeah, for sure. That is not a good combo.
No, no. Yeah, so that's just my little like, if it's something you ever wondered about, like I would investigate if you can. Yeah.
Is that something where you have to like do sleep tests and stuff? Like, do they do sleep studies or?
Yeah, I well, the first thing they do is they do one that you can do from home, so they like give you a like an oxygen monitor thing that just like clips onto your finger,
Hmm.
and they measure like the drops in oxygen throughout the night as you sleep. But when I did that, they said it was like a bit inconclusive. So they invited me in for an overnight stay in the hospital and they like hooked me up to
Gotcha.
so many things. And they have like a camera on you while you're sleeping. And it's just so weird. I was like, I felt like a fucking robot. Like, just some weird cyberpunk woman. And then it was really uncomfortable trying to fall asleep. And then they're like, lights out at 10 p.m., which for someone like me is really early. So I was just like, great,
Right.
I'm gonna have a good night. Not to
Yeah.
mention, like, the hospital I was in was like, I think it's been replaced now, but it was like this really old ass building in Bristol Hospital, and it was creepy as fuck as well. So I'm like, cool, this is gonna go well. But
Yeah.
yeah, they did that, and then that was how they found out that yeah, I definitely have sleep apnea.
I can imagine that many buildings in England are creepy as fuck.
Yeah, I love creepy old buildings. Like I used to love doing urban exploring,
Oh, nice.
which is like, just going around abandoned creepy buildings and taking photos and stuff. I used to do that a little bit, but because I couldn't drive myself,
Hmm.
I've never been able to drive. That's another thing about the sleep apnea. I can't get a provisional license, so I can't drive, which is kind of
Oh,
annoying.
really?
I could probably fight it if I really wanted, but I'm not actually that bothered about driving. I mostly wanted a scooter at one point, but I was like, I'll be all right. I can walk and get a bus. It's all right. But yeah, I used to like pester my friends to like take me to these places in the middle of nowhere that were abandoned and creepy and just go and take photos and stuff. Like, yeah, it was pretty fun.
Do you have like friends that are interested in urban exploring as well?
Um, I mean, not so much anymore. This was more when I was like in college and then university.
Right.
I don't know if anyone I know would be up for it like now. Um, it's not something I've really done for a few years, but like I love architecture and there's so many beautiful buildings in this country, and because we have like such a long history of
Right.
different types of cultures coming and going, like you can find some really cool stuff if you know where to look.
I only visited the UK briefly when I was like, I want to say still single digits in
Right.
age, somewhere like around like 8 or 9, something like that.
Okay.
So I unfortunately I don't remember much, but we did get to go to, I don't know where or what castle, but there was a castle that we got to go to.
Yeah.
That was just a go and look at it, like kind of like You go anywhere,
Yeah.
like explore it all on your own kind of thing, which was really fun as a kid.
Yeah, yeah.
Um, Most of the other places that we went, like to like other castles and stuff, there was like velvet ropes and like guided tours, and like you couldn't actually like just have free reign. But there was one castle that they were just like, yeah, just go have fun.
Go and play on it, do what you
Yeah.
want. Yeah, some of them are like that. Yeah, definitely. There's so many different like heritage sites and stuff though here, and
Hmm.
it does vary how much they kind of give a shit, how much they want to preserve it. I find, like they're like happy to let you just run around and climb on stuff and do whatever, or if they're like, like the behind the behind the red velvet barriers
Right.
and stuff like you're saying. So those are more the ones you have to pay to get in, I presume.
Yeah. 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 There was a few of those things.
Yeah.
And again, I can't remember where in I believe England proper. I don't think we went to Scotland or Wales or
Mm.
either of the Irelands.
Yeah, I mean that could literally be like anywhere in England. They're all over the fucking place.
Yeah.
There's castles everywhere.
I know we were around London a
Yeah.
lot, but compared to the US, your your countries are so small that
Yeah.
I'm
It's small but
pretty
very
sure we
dense.
could. Yeah, I'm just saying, but I'm pretty sure you could drive from like it's a day trip to get from London to like the North Country.
Oh yeah, yeah. Like
Like,
less than day, My my dad's job involves him like driving around the country and to other countries, and he'll
mm,
go for the day and come back like in the evening to the other side of the country. So
yeah,
yeah, I kind of forget how small we are compared to other countries sometimes, because it feels like everyone's so far away at the minute in particular.
right.
Like,
Especially with COVID and isolation and
yeah.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. But also like say I don't drive, and I have to rely on public transport, which is particularly shit and expensive in the UK. So like it's literally cheaper to fly abroad than it is to like go to somewhere in the same country, which is not even that far away. It's ridiculous.
Interesting.
Yeah, it's really, really weird.
At least I mean, but you can like take a bus or, public transportation pretty much anywhere within your country, right?
Yeah,
See,
but
that's
yeah,
nice.
it would. Yeah, like I say, it depends where you're going,
Hmm.
but like the kind of classic cheaper way to travel around is the megabus. You can get like a,
Hmm.
a trip from one end of the country to the other for a fiver, but you make like 7 stops on the way, like through
Right.
all these towns and stuff. So it's like, how much are you willing to put up with it for that price?
Fair. Yeah, I mean, America is the U.S. specifically. I can't speak for like Mexico or Canada, but the U.S. is so spread out, um,
Yeah.
that and a lot of our towns are very small towns. Like, I live in a town of like about 9,000 people,
Mm.
and just as a point of reference, we only got a bus here, I want to say 2 years ago.
What?
Yeah, 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 yeah,
That's
yeah, yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
weird to me. What the?
Uh huh. Yeah, yeah. Nope.
See,
My like
I mean,
entire life growing up,
I
I was
kind of
like, "You
understand more
have
why everyone
buses?"
in America drives now,
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't
You
realize it
have
was that
to.
bad.
Yeah, you have to. No, like, and it's not even something where like, oh, we want to go like on a long bus trip, like just go down to like it's not. It wasn't even something where like, oh, we had like buses that would like take us from like here to like another place, and we just didn't have them like within our town. Like, no, like the
Wow.
closest like bus depot even was like a drive out of our town to like
Oh my
a
god.
bigger city. Yeah, like Yeah, we only just got buses. I mean, I'm obviously like having to have had a car out of necessity. I've never used our public bus or
Yeah.
anything, but there is,
That
um,
must be so limiting though for people who like can't drive. Like,
yeah,
you
it
know, like for
is.
me,
Yeah.
I like I said, I could probably get a license and drive if I really fought for it, but
Hmm.
I can't be asked. I'm kind of, and because I don't really have to, because you know I have other options available to me. But like, if you were somewhere like where you live and you can't drive, like, what do you do? So bad.
We do have a taxi service, but it's not like you just walk out in the street and hail a taxi like you can in a city. Like it's something where like you
Yeah,
have
I
to
mean, we don't
call
really
and
do that.
reserve a
Yeah,
pickup and stuff.
everything's you've got to book one because usually it's taken by someone
Yeah.
else. But yeah, yeah. Well, yeah, it
Yeah.
makes more sense now because I remember like um when my dad first went to America for his job, like say he kind of travels all over the place for his job. And he was telling me when he went to America, and he's like, "Oh my god, everyone drives everywhere, like just down the road and stuff." And I
Mhm.
just thought it was so bizarre to hear that because, like, we were always, I mean, my family always walked everywhere that they could, and you know, I
Right.
if I ever pestered my mum or dad for a lift, they'd like scorn me for it. So yeah,
Yeah, no, I mean, me specifically, I've always liked to believe that if I had lived not where my house is specifically, that I would have availed myself of my legs more as a kid.
yeah.
But like I said, everything's like very spread out.
Yeah,
Um
you can only do so much, can't you, really?
yeah. I mean that, but I also live on top of a well, technically it's a mountain, but I don't know if you would. It's not
All
like the
right.
Rockies. Like it's old mountain, so yeah.
Mm,
But any like I do live up a very steep hill,
yeah.
and like to the point where like in the winter when it's icy, sometimes even our four-wheel drive cars can't like drive up the driveway kind
Oh,
of thing.
right. A proper hill then,
Yeah, yeah,
yeah.
yeah, yeah. It's definitely like a hike. And so it was one of
Yeah.
these things of like as a kid, you know, you want to like go over to a friend's house or something. And even like my friends who only lived like, maybe 3 or 4 blocks away from me, um we like to go skateboarding and stuff like that. And it's just one of those things of like at the end of a day, especially if you're out like skateboarding in the heat of summer and stuff like that, you just do not want to end your day walking up a really steep hill for like half a mile. Like
Yeah.
it's not, that's just not something like that I was ever like interested in. But even more than that, like when I was a kid, like my closest friend that I actually hung out with on a regular basis was like 5 miles away from where I
Oh,
lived.
wow.
So it's not something where I was just gonna like, oh yeah, I'm just gonna walk over to my friend's house,
Yeah.
walk 5 miles across a highway, and like,
I mean,
yeah,
I had a little bit of that like when I was younger because we lived in the countryside and like I lived in this village in the middle of nowhere in Norfolk, which is like Norfolk is like one
oh
of
yeah,
the more like it's somewhere that you're only going to Norfolk if you're going to Norfolk. It's not somewhere you ever pass through because for
mm,
one, I don't think it's even got a motorway yet. Oh, they were planning on like building one when I I don't know when I was last there. I don't know if that's the thing yet, but it's very like in the sticks kind of place. So
that's like
like
East Coast, right?
uh yeah. Sorry, I just
Yeah.
had to think for a sec. I'm terrible with directions. Yeah, it's like the bulge. If you see the bulge at the
Hmm.
side, the booty on the UK, it's the top of the booty. But yeah, we lived there, and I would like go on my bike and cycle to like the next village on, which is like 2 or 3 miles or something at least to see my friends and stuff. But
Yeah.
yeah,
So it's interesting that you grew up in Norfolk. No, I know we were saying England's very dense,
yeah.
so I'm not wouldn't be surprised if you haven't. But have you ever heard of or been to the town of Folsham, or however it's pronounced over there?
Where is that?
It's apparently in Norfolk.
I mean, because there's so many places there that I know I must have visited when I was a kid, but I don't remember the name of them. So I may
Right.
have. Um, I don't know. I don't remember them.
That's fair.
Yeah, but I've lived like up and down the country a bit. Like I'm originally from Barnsley, which is in South Yorkshire, which is where I am now. And then we moved down to Norfolk and then Suffolk and then back up to Barnsley. And then I came back down to Norfolk for university. And then I went to Bristol and now I'm back here. I keep coming back here, whether I like it or not. I keep coming back to Barnsley.
Fair enough. So yeah, I just Google mapped it, and apparently it is. Folsham is northwest of. I have no idea how to Norwich.
Norwich, that's where I went to university. Yeah. I love Norwich. Norwich is a great city. Yeah, I love that place. It was nice.
And it's very close to North Elmham,
I, I don't
whatever that
know.
is.
They're all very villagey names that they all
Right.
sound the same after a while. You're like, I don't know what that is. They all look the same as well. It's like, there's a village green with a nice sign on it. And then there's like a pub, and then there are cottages, and that is what every village in Norfolk looks like. So
Yeah.
it's very quaint.
But that village is apparently the where I get my name.
Oh, well, there you go.
From what I can tell, the meaning of the town's name. It was named because there was a village near some water where there was a lot of waterfowl, which
Fab.
is weird because it's not even spelled the way you spell waterfowl anymore.
I'm gonna look this place up, see if I recognize it.
I mean, from what I can tell, it's a very small
Mm,
place.
no, I don't know any of these places. Oh my god, there is. If you go a little bit further down on the map, there is something called Dinosaur Adventure. Though I used to go there all the time. That place was great as a kid. So like,
That's not coming up for me. Probably because I'm not in. Oh wait, no, I had to zoom in further. There it is.
yeah, like if you follow the road down through like
Lenwade.
oh my god, all these places sound made up, don't they? Foxley, Bawdswell, Sparham, Lenwade. You could use this, just honestly just print screen this and use it in one of your D&D campaigns. You're sorted, dude.
So, what is the word Pock? Is Pockthorpe a town name, or like what does that mean?
That sounds like a town. I don't know what that is, man.
Well, because the
I see it
near
though. Pockthorpe. Yeah.
near the Dinosaur Adventure, there's a Pockthorpe, but then within the boundary of when I Google Folsham, there's like a red line, right? There's
Yeah.
there's another Pockthorpe,
Oh
like
god.
right next to
I don't
what?
understand. There's like, so
How is that possible?
it gets weirder the more you like start dividing places up in the UK, because you have like, so you've got, obviously you've got your countries, you've got England, Wales, Scotland, and Northern Ireland, and then within those you have counties. So for example, Norfolk is the county, and then you get like what is it called, like county council districts or something. I don't know. And then it's like, then you get the fucking, you get the nitty gritty, you get the little villages, and then the villages within a village. And I'm just like, where am I? What do I tell the Uber driver? They probably don't even come out here because it's in the middle of nowhere.
Right. I do like that there is something on the map here that says Mill Street, and when I zoom in, the road is called Isling Road. It's not even it's not even
Oh,
Mill Street. It's just like what?
yeah, there is a great there's a lot of really like funny place names and road names. I think it might be in Norfolk actually. I'm just gonna double check. Um it's called Sluts Hole Lane. And it's yeah, it's in Norfolk, Sluts Hole Lane. Because I
Love it.
remember we drove past it when we were going to like this barn in the middle of nowhere to do this thing. Well, my
A druidic ritual,
housemate
gotcha.
my, my housemate at university was a film student, and she was working on a film, um and they wanted someone to come and take like photos of the set and stuff like that, and they were filming it at this barn in the middle of nowhere, and yeah, it was literally like fields and fields and fields, and then we drove past that and I'm like, did that just say Sluts Hole Lane? So yeah.
So speaking of school, did you get your degree, or were you going for a degree in the arts?
um yeah, so originally I applied to go to university to I couldn't decide between music tech and photography.
Hmm.
um and I applied for a bunch of places to do photography. I originally wanted to move to Edinburgh, so I applied for like two universities in Edinburgh. Oh wait, no, I'm getting confused. No, because I applied this. That was the second time I applied. The first time I applied, I can't remember where it was, where else I applied, but I got into a place at Chester University, but it wasn't actually in Chester. It's in Warrington, which is like just a it's a bit of a dive, if I'm honest. But the only reason I went there is because it's like one of the few universities that offered this weird like split degree. So you could choose any two subjects that they offered
Oh,
and do
cool.
like half a degree on it. And it was like, that's yeah, sure, I'll do that because I can't decide. So I did. I started doing half a music tech degree and half a photography degree at this place. But so I don't know what it's like in America. I know like we have this Freshers Week, which is when all the, everyone's new and they're getting to know each other, and it's just like a
Mhm.
big party for a whole week, and they have all events and stuff on. Which is fun, lovely to get to know people. You get smashed, it's great. But that went on for 4 months. And I think I went to class like twice. I was so fed up of it because like I was on campus, living on campus in halls
Mhm.
residence, um, which was not great from the get-go because they like put us in a room with a stranger, which
Mhm.
again, I don't know if that's normal over in
Yeah.
America because I see that that's like a thing on TV shows and stuff. Like, oh, I've got a roommate, but I'm just like
Yeah.
that over here. That's like a no-no. Like, who the fuck shares a room? Like, this is my space, you know.
Interesting.
Never mind with a stranger. So, but because the building I was supposed to be living in hadn't finished being refurbished, they like put us in rooms with strangers and we had to just like bunk
Ah,
up, and it was really horrible and awkward, and everyone just felt so uncomfortable and on edge all the
see.
time. um so there was that to deal with. There was also the fucking rugby lads coming back from the SU bar drunk every single night, setting off the fire alarm, and I mean every single night for like 4 months straight. I was going insane, and it was like snowing loads. So we'd have to come outside because every time the fire alarm went off, you had to go outside because so like we're not turning it off till everyone's out the building. I'm just like, oh my god, this has happened every day. Can you not tell that it's not a fire?
Right.
And so I was just kind of slowly losing my mind, and a lot of people dropped out, and I was like, oh, I think I might have to do that as well. Like a lot of people left, and I'm glad that I did leave because I was not getting anything done. I was not enjoying being there. The people were just kind of shitty and just wanted to party. And I'm like, yeah, as much as I enjoy that every now and then, I want to actually, get a degree and do something with my life, please.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I kind of unintentionally had like most of a gap year because of that. And then that's when I applied to Edinburgh and a bunch of other places. But I was like, right, this time I'm specifically going to just go for photography, and I'm going to apply only at art universities or art schools because um, generically, like art courses get the least amount of funding at universities. So I was like,
Hmm.
well, if it's an art college, then they're all
Hmm.
going to be funded.
Right.
So that's I didn't get into. I got denied like every option that I applied for, which was really hard because everyone had always told me how great I was at photography and art and stuff. And
Hmm.
so to get rejected from 5 universities, I eventually applied for Norwich and they let me in. And I was like, thank fuck. Like someone's letting me crawl in the back door finally. So it was, I don't know, it was more of a battle than I ever thought it was going to be to get into university, to be honest.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, but that's how I ended up in Norwich. So,
Makes me makes me feel a little lucky that in that regard then, because I was not shooting for like good art schools.
right.
When I applied for art school, I went to the university just here in my tiny little town that's
Yeah.
like more known for like crapping out like public school teachers by the like bucket load.
Fair.
Like on it, like 45% of the degrees that are done at my college are like teachers degrees of various kinds.
Yeah, yeah.
So they're like our art program was 4 professors when I was there. There
Oh,
was,
really?
yeah, there was like
So, we're going to teach you how to draw this thing so you can teach your students how to draw it.
basically, yeah.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, like there was it was like one professor that oversaw everything 3D.
Yeah.
Um there was like one professor who did all of the graphic design stuff.
Oh,
And then there were two professors that sort of shared the workload in the 2D art department. So like
yeah.
one of them specialized in like more of like the what we would consider like drawing, like
Hmm.
charcoal and stuff like that. And he also did like printmaking. And then the other one was more like the various painting stuff, and kind of dipped his toe into like the digital art world of like how to draw with like
Yeah.
a tablet and stuff. But like he had no idea what he was doing. Like when I took the class on like digital art,
Did he
um
graduate from that college? Just go straight into teaching there? Because that'd be
no,
funny.
no. No, I forget. I think he went to school in Texas, that particular uh that professor.
Yeah.
But he didn't have like he had a background in like painting, like
Hmm.
legit like oils and painting and stuff like that.
What was that you actually studied then? Was it like illustration or fine art or?
So yeah, that's like the weird thing, right? Is like when I applied, it was, oh, get your, BFA in like 2D, 3D, or graphic design, and then there was like, but you could have like a concentration, in painting or illustration or sculpture or
Right.
pottery or like whatever, right? Um Turns out that your focus in air quotes is just whatever you do for your independent studies. Everybody had to take all of the same classes. So like I say, it's a BFA in uh illustration just because that's
Mm.
what I wanted to get my degree in, but I'm pretty sure on my diploma it just says 2D fine arts.
Right. So it's pretty vague.
Yeah,
But
yeah,
your
it's just a
portfolio
general.
is clearly showing more of like an illustration thing. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I do. It's sort of
Yeah.
where my brain works, right? Is just sort of like inking and line art and
Hmm. Did you
um
like, I mean, I hear so many people complain that they like wish they'd not bothered going to study art because they're like,
mhm,
oh well, it's just a waste of money. I could have done this on my own and learned from
right.
other places. Like, did you find that, or did you find it like genuinely
Um
helpful?
I think I found it genuinely helpful for a couple reasons. Um I think I may have talked about this a little
Yeah.
bit in the podcast just where I was just blathering on about myself for an hour and 40 minutes.
Oh well,
But
you don't have to like go into detail.
no, I can't remember if I actually said this part about it though. So
Yeah.
for me, like the part that I know I talked about is like I originally went to film school like right out of high school.
Mm.
And then like right out of high school, I didn't do well away from home, depression, yada yada yada, dropped out of school after like 3 years because I had like a 0 point something GPA.
Oh.
Um
Yeah,
yeah,
I
like
think I remember you talking about that on one I listened to. Yeah.
yeah. But so then I like worked for a couple of years, and when I went back to school after like multiple years off, right? I didn't just take a gap year.
Yeah.
It was like 3 years. So like when I went back to school, like I was ready to go back to school. So I think
Mm.
that in and of itself kind of led to having like a a rewarding experience within like the
Yeah, I
university
feel like
programs.
that is a really big part of it because,
Hmm.
like I say, I mean, my experience at Warrington proves that people do just kind of go to university because they're kind of told it's what they should be doing
Yeah,
straight after
yeah,
college, and then they just end up
right.
partying, and they're like, oh, I don't really know what I'm gonna get out of this. I don't really know why I'm here, but fuck it, I
Right.
can get drunk every night, and because I have a student loan now to spend it all at the SU bar, and
Right.
that happens a lot. So like, yeah,
Yeah.
I think again it was something I had in mind with specifically going to an art university. I'm like, well, hopefully people kind of come in here for a reason, and I'm going to
Exactly.
be surrounded with more of the right type of people, not just people who are like, oh, I don't know, I guess I can draw, let's go to art university. Like, don't get me wrong, there was definitely people like that. Like,
Right, right.
um and it was more frustrating seeing some, after I said being rejected from 5 universities, and then seeing some people who got in, and I'm like, really? Okay. That's just me being bitter. So,
No, yeah.
but yeah, like, oh, man. Um, but yeah, I had a really good time at university for the most part. It kind of got a bit shit towards the end, but that was kind
Mm,
of things that were out of my control. Um, so like my actual degree. So I was trying, the idea is to get a BA with honors as your degree, but I ended up
mhm.
just getting a BA without honors, which literally, when I was going to job interviews after university, I had to explain what that meant. Like, so I have a degree, but it doesn't have a grade. And they're
Wait, I
like,
mean, but so that may be something either I'm ignorant about, or maybe that's just something that we
I
don't
didn't
have
know
in
it
the
was a thing. No
States.
one knows it's a thing until it happens to you. And I'm like, I worked my fucking ass
What
off.
do you mean by a grade,
So you
though?
get a grade, like you have a your degree, you either get a third, a second, or a first. So
Oh,
like a first is, you aced everything. You got like over 80 something percent, I think, in
interesting.
all your marks. So a first is what you aim for, obviously. Second is like middle ground average, and a third is
Hmm.
like you barely scraped this, like this is a degree, but only just. So for me to like not have a grade on it at all, so that's literally below a third, makes me feel really shit. But then I'm like, it doesn't matter about grades really. It's a fucking photography degree. So but I was more annoyed because if I basically in the third year, when I was about to do my dissertation and the last unit of the degree, my nanan passed away. So I wasn't around to do my work because I had to go back up north with my family and deal with all that. And it was very hard to go through. And so I missed out on a unit. And they were like, okay, well, extenuating circumstances, we'll give you some time to redo that unit at some point. And then they kept kind of like putting it off, telling me when I was going to have the time to do it. And they basically ended up saying, um, well, what you can do is do it over summer,
Hmm.
and we'll give you like a few weeks to do it. And I'm like, I can't do a whole unit in a few weeks when we normally have a few months to do it. So I just kind of fucked it off. I was like, fine, I'll just take the degree as it is. I didn't go to my graduation ceremony or anything because I didn't want to be like in front of everyone, not
Mm.
getting my honors and stuff in front of John Hurt. John Hurt is the person who gives you your degree at that university. Like, well, he rest in peace, obviously not anymore, but yeah, I was just like, no, I'm not going. I'm just gonna take my degree and go home and
Right.
sulk. So yeah, and then like say having to explain it to people in job interviews, because one of the things they do is they ask, oh, what grade did you get? You're like, did you get a first? And I'm like, well, kind of don't
Yeah,
have
that's
one.
wild.
um but like I say, in the end, it didn't matter anyway because no one hired me.
Fair, fair. I mean, so I may be showing my own ignorance here, but like, I don't think that that's even a thing here in the States.
Okay.
I've never heard of it, but that doesn't
Yeah.
mean that it doesn't exist. But no, like that is like actually like a big, I won't say running joke, but like it is a big mood in like every person I've ever talked to who went to school in the States about how like grades just don't matter, period, like
Yeah.
at all, ever. Like
Yeah.
it's one of these things of like we literally say all the time, even the professors at my school was like, you want to get good grades because like you want to learn the stuff that's here, but like a lot of like the teachers were like, don't get too hung up on
Mm.
stressing and like murdering yourself because you're not getting good grades. Like no one's ever going to know what grades you got at school. Like
Yeah.
so
I mean,
like
I
when you
obviously hear
have
that
like
a
first,
lot.
second, and third degree, like it like over in the UK, like that clearly understand like where you ranked within, like they may not know a specific grade for a specific class, but like
Yeah.
you have like a first degree with honors
Yeah.
thing,
That's
like
like, oh, I
they're
did really
clearly gonna
fucking good
know.
and put the work in. Yeah. So,
Yeah. So they are gonna have like an idea, but like that's
all right. I
as
didn't
far as
even
I am
realize
aware.
that about American degrees. So that is
Yeah.
interesting to know the difference.
Yeah, as far as I'm aware, that's not
Hmm.
that's not at all how it works
So
here.
that's kind of worrying to think that like, so like if you're going for like something to do with like medical, if you're wanting
I
to get a
think
degree
there
in that,
are like
like
I think
surely there's
certain
something there because it's
programs.
like, would you trust a doctor who only got a third compared to someone who got a
Hmm.
first? I don't know.
Well, that's the thing is like I think there are certain degrees where you have to maintain a certain GPA to stay in the course.
Right, yeah.
Um, so there may be something like that.
Mm.
Where like from medicine or something like that, like pre-med. um well, actually no, I do know. So my buddy Nick, who was on I think episode 5, I believe has told me before that he was pre-med and going for obviously like try to go get into med school and stuff, but I feel like he had like a couple of semesters where like shit was going on and stuff that affected his schoolwork,
Yeah.
which kept him out of medical school
Oh.
because he didn't have the grades to get into actual like med school.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, so there's things like that. There are things in place, but for people like me who never gonna do that kind of stuff anyway.
Yeah. And
Yeah,
I mean, even when I was at university, all of our tutors said, because I did like this about my photography course, that it was very commercial based. It wasn't like
mm,
fine art photography. There was a fine art course if you wanted to go and do that kind of shit. Like, go over there and talk nonsense about whatever you're doing. You can get a degree in bullshitting, is kind of what I feel. It's like, literally, some people took the piss with the fine arts so bad. I'm not even gonna go into it. But yeah, like our tutors even said, ultimately outside of university, the only thing that's going to matter is your portfolio. So like, use the
right.
university's
Yeah.
equipment, use the studio, use the knowledge to get your portfolio looking fucking amazing before you leave to look for work. And
Hmm.
that's what I tried to do with it. Like, I barely actually was, I didn't really go into university. Like, I didn't go to the lectures and stuff very often, unless it was something I'm like, I really want to go to this one, because they would get guest speakers in a lot, which was really
Oh, that's
cool.
cool.
Like some big famous photographers and stuff, like uh Tim Flack and shit, what's his name? He does like loads of photos for like Marilyn Manson and stuff. He had a big neon sign with his name on it, even at the front of the lecture hall. I can't remember his name. So that's how much that worked. Like, I have terrible memory. But yeah, we had some really good guest speakers in. I was like quite impressed with that. But yeah, they were all very like straightforward, which I appreciated from the tutors. And because they'd all worked as photographers, or were still working as photographers themselves. Like, they'd been in
Mm,
the industry, they had experience, they hadn't just come from
that's
like,
cool.
oh, I took some photos for a bit and then I got a teaching degree and now I'm here. Like, they've got actually got the experience. And so yeah, I learned a lot while I was there, definitely. But I did a lot of my actual university work from my house.
Right.
Unless I had to use the studio, pretty much.
Yeah, I did the same. I definitely like was in the studio a bit, but I'm not a very social person in general. Um, but that is one thing that I did like about going to school specifically is you do get some benefits, I think. And that like the studio experience is one of them. Like being in the studio with other artists,
Yeah.
kind of working on the same projects as everybody else, depending on like what class or like what you're working on or whatever.
Yeah.
Especially as like an underclassman, when all you have is like the time when that particular room isn't in session, and you just like go in and like work on your stuff.
Mm,
Um,
I could say with photography, it was kind of a bit more difficult to have that. It was more like you went in, and if you wanted to use Photoshop or the printer, there was like a room full of computers. But I was like, I have Photoshop on my laptop, so I just didn't go
right.
in.
Yeah.
But I do kind of I refer to Twitch a lot as this kind of like studio of artists, because it's, I don't know about you, but I tend to put other art streamers on while I'm working on my own stuff.
Mhm.
And it feels like that kind of co-working environment to me through that, in a way, which is really nice and comforting. And you can kind of like, you're still being social, but you're still
Right.
got that space to get on with stuff as well.
Yeah.
um which
It
is a
definitely
big
comes
part of
close.
like how I got involved in the Twitch art community.
Yeah. It definitely comes close. I think it's the same as um it's the same as the difference between playing a game like D&D in person versus online. It's
Yeah.
very close and it's definitely works as as a alternate or a substitute or something, but there's a bit that you're missing out on not
Oh,
being in the
I
same
mean,
room as other
definitely.
people.
Yeah. It's not the same, but it's, it's good for it. It's good for what it's good
Yeah,
for. Like it's its
right.
own thing. Um yeah,
So like the
like
thing that I missed a little bit, and not much, but the thing I miss a little bit is the idea of competition within uh the art scene.
all
So
right.
when you're all working on the same project together, there is a little bit of a like, oh, okay, I see what you're doing, I'm gonna try and do it better,
Yeah.
which you don't really get on Twitch specifically because you know you're all working on your own stuff. You're not,
Hmm.
worried
I guess,
necessarily
yeah.
about like what everybody else is doing. So there's a bit of
Yeah. I
that
don't know, like
that you don't get.
I guess if you did like a draw this in your style competition, that's probably the only thing that kind of
Hmm.
comes close to that.
Yeah,
Yeah, but
yeah.
that's a good point, I suppose. I never really considered that because I'm just constantly in competition with everyone. I want to be the best.
And see, I'm not a very competitive person at
No, I'm
all.
joking. I'm not a competitive person at all.
So there was that aspect, and then also I think the especially like in a smaller institution, like I don't know about like the Pittsburgh Art Institute or anything like a bigger school or
Yeah.
anything, but at least where I went to school, there was a professors were very accessible and would help you out like on a personal one-to-one level
Oh yeah, no,
on
our
stuff.
tutors was similar. It's like if you need anything, here's my email address. We can arrange a
Yeah.
meeting. Blah blah blah. We had this really great tutor called Junko, and she was just the sweetest little Japanese woman, and she was always so nice to everyone, and you just wanted to like cuddle her after every meeting. She was she was great, but she always gave such like solid advice as well. Um, yeah, I really loved Junko, and like some of the other tutors, like I say, were a bit more. I don't know, like to the point and hard-headed about things, which
Mm.
um they obviously had their own way of thinking things and thinking like this is how I would do it, and I'm like, yeah, but this is how I'm gonna do it, so fuck you.
Right,
Yeah.
right.
And then when I showed them the way I did it and they go, oh, actually, yeah, that looks really good, I'm like, fucking told you. Like, so I loved that feeling, like kind of showing up the people who think they know everything in a way, because
Right.
I started. I mean, I've always like drawn stuff. Like drawing has always been a hobby of mine, but the it kind of like grew more when I was at university as like a side hobby compared to like my escape was drawing. Photography was my work,
Right.
what I wanted to concentrate on, and then I just doodled stuff on the side. And then I started integrating the illustration into my photography and mixed media and stuff, and um yeah, the tutors even said to me, like, when they started seeing it, they're like, "Oh, your drawings are good. Why aren't you on the illustration course?" And they kept pushing me, like, "Why are you not on the illustration course?" I'm like, "Because they would tell me to draw things I don't want to draw, and they'd tell me that it's wrong, and I don't want that. This is what I want to draw." And one of them even set me up with for a meeting, like a review with the illustration course leader to have a look at my stuff, and he tore it to shreds, and I'm like, I told you they're not going to want it, like this is just my thing. I can't do perspective, I can't do this, can't do that. Like, I was drawing characters with like long flaily wiggly arms and weird big noses and stuff because I'm like, I don't know how to draw that properly, so I'm just going to make it look like it's really big and weird and out of proportion on purpose. So yeah, I was like, it's fine. That's my thing. I want to do photography and I want to maybe incorporate a bit of illustration with it. And then after the whole debacle of, like I say, not getting my honors and stuff, I was like thoroughly pissed off with the university and kind of pissed off with photography in the end because it turns out you
Right.
can only really make money if you want to do wedding photography, and I fucking hate doing wedding photography. And I didn't want to move to London either. Oh my god, really fuck London. It's not a place for me at all. Hate it. So
Fair.
I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, I was like, photography is kind of not going to happen. I didn't think so I tried to get more into like marketing and stuff after uni, but yeah.
Well, speaking of marketing, I think I got some more questions about specific like art and like what you're doing now.
Yeah.
But I think we should probably head to break here.
Okay.
We've been going for almost an hour. Um, and so, yeah, everybody who's listening, stick around after the break. More with Dozy in just a couple minutes. Do you want to class up your gaming? Are you sick of card tables and cheap plastic sleeves for your character sheets? Do you like real wood and are convinced magnets are the only magic we have left in our current age of science? Then head over to legendcraft.ca to spruce up your tabletop gaming setup. They offer felt top gaming tables with add-ons like cup holders, tablet holders, dice trays, roll boxes, and more. Newly released in January 2021 is their Magna Tracker system. With versions for both health and spell tracking, these sleek and stylish tracking boards come with magnetized tracking pips that allow you to slide them back and forth along clean-cut channels, making tracking your health and spell slots easy to use and read, all without the constant erasing and writing on your character sheet. And did I mention that both the Magna Trackers and the tables are customizable and personalizable? That's right, your table and or Magna Tracker will be one of a kind when you order at Legendcraft. Legendcraft is partnering with me to offer you a 5% discount on your orders at legendcraft.ca. That's right, you can get a 5% discount when you enter the code F_ART at checkout. That's F_art. Go to legendcraft.ca. That's legendcraft.ca with discount code F_art for 5% off. Legendcraft.ca. Order today. If you like this podcast and would like to support the show, head over to patreon.com/Folsham_art. As little as $1 per month, you not only support Thought Balloons and get to submit questions to be answered by myself and the guest host, but you will also have access to my webcomic 3 to 4 weeks before they're released to the public and my weekly update blog. At higher tiers, you'll gain access to full issues and short story comics, and you can even see progress and add input to projects I'm working on. That's patreon.com/FOULSHAM_ART to support Thought Balloons today. Welcome back from the break. We are sitting here still with Dozy. Dozy, welcome back to the show.
Thank you. I had a wee. I got some water. It's all good.
I got more water as well.
Yeah.
As we mentioned at the beginning of the podcast about weird sleep schedules, I woke up 15 minutes before the recording, so I've already had like 32 ounces of water.
Yeah, I go through so much water like
Gotta
in a
hydrate.
day. Yeah. I have my big pint glass of water with me on the stream, and I'll go through like 3 of those sometimes.
It
But
definitely makes it rough at the end of the day when I'm like peeing every like 40 minutes or
yeah,
whatever.
my
But
stream is like 50% me be right back in to go and go to the toilet.
but yeah,
But
I'm like
if I
constantly.
don't drink it though, my voice goes like super croaky really quick though,
Mm.
and I notice it so bad. I'm like by the end of the fucking stream.
Yeah, that's why I don't. That's why actually why I don't have like a hydrate reward on my stream because I don't need one. I
No,
drink a lot of
I have
liquids.
people people comment on my Streamlabs. I have like a timer that it just says drink some fucking water like every half an hour. But I'm like, that's more for you guys, you know, because I drink water all the time. And I know you fuckers don't. You'll sit there pruning like dry like a prune, shriveling up. So that's
Yeah,
more for my chat.
look, we're just trying to lose weight. Okay, we're cutting down water weight. We gotta get into a lower weight class for our wrestling match. Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
uh, but before the break, we were talking about school and colleges and degrees and things. Um, but I know now you work doing tattoos. What
Uh-huh.
was the journey there? Like, how did you go from getting your degree in photography to becoming a tattoo artist, tattooist? What? Let's
Either
start there.
or.
What's the correct
I
nomenclature?
mean, I tend to say tattoo artist
Mm.
because I am an artist as well as a tattoo artist, I guess. But like people say tattooer, people say tattooist. I don't really
Mm.
think there's a wrong way to do it. I don't know. Yeah, I don't mind
Gotcha.
either way.
The tattooinator, right?
Tattoo minute. Yeah, that one's good.
um,
But yeah, I have to think now. Like I say, when I've always drawn, drawing's always been a hobby. Um, and well, as I mentioned, I tried to get into marketing after uni because
mhm.
while I was studying, I was also like running the music society. I was surprised that when I got to uni, they didn't have one because I just assumed every university already had a music society. And so I was asking, like, oh, how do I join? They're like, oh, we don't have one. So I'm like, okay, well, I'm going to make one. So me and this guy who was also planning on making one because he was also like, what the fuck? There's a new music society. So me and this guy Kevin like teamed up and we ran the music society for like the whole 3 years we were both there. And so we got used to like putting events on. We did an open mic night every 2 weeks in the SU bar. You know, I did DJ sets in the SU bar. We did all things like
Nice.
events wise if they were planning like a party for you know after I was going to say after exams, but no one had exams because art university. But after a semester or whatever, like a party to celebrate, everyone handing their work in, stuff like that, they'd get us to come and do it. And so I got really into, the whole marketing side of it, and I ended up joining in with the, excuse me, with the uh, university magazine. Uh, Sorry, I'm just gonna
Okay.
some more water.
No worries.
Oh, it's happening. um, so I got involved with the, you know, doing the things for the music society as well as the university magazine and just the university in general, doing events. And I enjoyed the whole planning of it, events planning, and the marketing side of it. And I was like, okay, maybe this is something I could do for a job. So I started looking into that. Um, and I started like I was drawing all my own posters for the gigs and stuff we were putting on and designing, like just general marketing materials. And I do a lot of it in like my own kind of illustrative way rather than more of a graphic design style. So that's kind of how I honed my illustrations a bit more because it was like I have an actual brief in mind. Um, and eventually, like, rejection later from trying to find a real
Right.
job.
Yeah.
Plus the sleep apnea thing, which physically stopped me from working because I kept like getting sacked and stuff
Mm,
because I was either like showing up late because I'd fallen asleep on the bus, or like just woke up late, or I was falling asleep at work and all that kind of stuff. I eventually ended up having to move back in with my parents in Barnsley because I couldn't hold a job down because of the whole debacle with sleep apnea. Even though
right.
I was on treatment then, that my like mental health was so shot. I was like, I can't work right now. So I moved back in with my parents, and they are very, they're happy to have me there. Basically, they're like, you don't have to pay us rent or anything. We'll look after you, roof over your head for as long as you need. We're your parents. And I'm like, cool.
Nice.
I'm going to use this opportunity to get a tattoo apprenticeship then, because it was always like in the back of my mind, like if everything went wrong, I would get into tattooing. And then I don't know why, it's one of the things I'm like, as soon as I started doing it, I'm like, why didn't I do this from the start? Like, this is so me. But
Right.
I also don't regret the journey it took for me to get there because I learned so much on the way. And also, I'm kind of glad that I had that experience rather than, again, like, it's a big decision to go into a career when you're
It
like
is.
18 years
Yeah.
old. So, people go, I want to be a tattoo artist when they're 18. They go straight into it. And like, yeah, there's people who are the same age as me who've got like way more years of experience. Like the guy I work with is a year younger than me and he's been tattooing for like 12 years or something stupid.
Right.
Um, you know, I mean, he was tattooing when he was like 14, making his own machines with his parents getting mad at him for doing it. But that's that's what he wanted to do. So
Some people
um
just know early.
yeah, so there was that kind of like, I feel a bit too old to be just starting, but because everyone who would be my peer in the same age group was like talking down to me and stuff as an apprentice, because I'm like,
Right.
when you're an apprentice, you're the bitch of the shop essentially.
Mm.
It's like, this needs cleaning, this needs doing, get me a coffee, blah blah blah, like, and you're doing it all for free, and it's like, can be a bit degrading at times. So but it's very old school.
Hmm.
And I was like, look, I'm determined to fucking stick with something for once in my life, and I think this is the thing I'm going to enjoy the most if I actually go through with it. So yeah, that's kind of how I got into it anyway.
So before you started doing um, tattoos as your job, were you someone who like had a lot of tattoos already? Like, were you just into that world
Yeah, I mean,
beforehand?
I got quite a few tattoos done while I was at university, spend that student loan.
Hmm.
um but that kind of piqued my interest in it a bit more because the last project I did at university was, I was doing like a play on the word needlework, and I was taking portraits of people who were like heavily tattooed. So I was like getting to know the guys at one of the local tattoo shops I got my work done at and stuff, and like taking their photos. Um, and then I printed the photos on canvas and then I embroidered over them as well. So it was like, again, like the mixed media thing that I
Right.
wanted to try out. And I'm still really proud of that work I did. I think it looks cool, and a lot of other people like, they were really happy about it. And like my tutors were like, oh, this is so different and you're going to do really well. And, again, all this praise, I've always had praise from people, and then when it comes to reality, it's like just
Right.
slaps you in the face. So I but that's kind of, yeah, I got to know a bit more about tattooing and tattoo artists and what it's like to be in that environment bit. Um, One of the people who modeled for me, I've got quite a bit of work from him, and I really looked up to him. Um, and It's kind of gutting because it turned out that there's been like a bit of a movement in the tattoo industry recently of like calling out people who have been inappropriate with their customers and harassment and things, and it turned out he was one of those people. So I was
Oh,
like, oh, that's very disappointing, and I like I cut ties with him because of that. So yeah, it's kind of shit. um but I don't hate my tattoos I've got from him, so you know but yeah.
yeah, it's a difficult kind of thing, you know. Like I feel like more so than other generations, people in our age group, like we were really taught, you know, to kind of like be nice to each other, you know,
Mm,
as kids, at least, you know, at least in my peer group where I grew up, like that was a big sort of like vibe that our parents tried to like push on us, you know. And
yeah,
I think we
this
kind of took it to heart, and now we're in this like weird sort of cancel culture where it's like if you're a shitty person, you get canceled, right? And I think
I
that's
mean,
good, but
I'm
like
gonna say I hate that term cancel culture because it
well,
kind
yeah.
of has like I think cancel culture is a specific thing in that that's like the extreme of it. That's like, oh, someone said something 10 years ago and now we must never look at them ever again. That to me is what that term means. It's like over the top a bit.
Mm,
But people having to actually face consequences for their actions, I'm glad that that's happening more and it needs to happen. So this
I
whole thing of like, I mean, the guy in question who I was just talking about, I messaged
Mhm.
him because obviously I had him on like Facebook or whatever, and
Right.
I said like, I'm gonna be cutting ties with you. I just found out, from a friend that like you've been shitty, and I'm really disappointed because I really looked up to you. And he even said like, yeah, I totally understand like why you'd want to do that, and I'm fully accepting every consequence. I'm not tattooing anymore, I don't deserve to. Because he admitted that he used his position as a male tattoo artist as a power play over female
Hmm.
clients. And I was kind of like glad that he at least admitted that, because a lot of them have not, and they are just kind of
Right.
going on as if nothing's happening. So I was like, well, at least he's kind of he knows he's made his own bed with that one, and he's
Yeah.
dealing with it. So yeah.
So I guess that kind of like eases the ability then to still appreciate their work. What I was gonna
Yeah.
say is like that's sort of like the difficult thing, at least from my perspective, is like there's a lot of people whose work that like I still like, even though they themselves are a shitty person. Like
Yeah, and
you
I
can't
think
like you
again,
can't tell
this
me that Bill
this is why I
Cosby.
don't like the whole, like say, I think cancel culture is a specific thing. It's like you
Mm,
can't enjoy this thing anymore, and it's like, but if that was true for everything, like no one would watch anything, because everything,
yeah.
what is it? There's no such thing as ethical consumption under capitalism. It's in almost in the same way. There's always going to be some dickhead who's ruined something for someone, and you would never consume anything,
Right.
like fucking. We love Twitch, but it's Jeff Bezos owns it, and he's a knob. I'm not
Right.
gonna stop streaming on Twitch and like getting to know people because of that.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, one of the most recent examples is, all this stuff's coming out about how Marilyn Manson's an abuser. And I'm like, well, yeah, everyone's been talking for years about what an asshole he is. It's like, why is it taking so long for it to kind of catch up and come out in the open? Is the main thing. But, his music is still influential to me and I enjoyed it.
Mhm.
And, but, when I listen to it, I go, this guy's a fucking asshole. But yeah, I like this song. you know?
Right. And like you can't tell me that Bill Cosby's like Noah's Ark like routine isn't funny. Like it just is.
I mean, I
The
don't.
dude's a
I
fucking
haven't
piece
seen
of
that, so I
garbage.
have literally never seen anything he's done. So I like
Fair.
that's not a
That's
loss
fair.
to me. I
Nah,
think
well, let's
that's
do
more of an
like
American thing, definitely.
yeah, definitely. But he was also like one of those people who I was exposed to as a kid.
Yeah,
I mean the Cosby Show, but like more than even that, like he's a Philadelphia guy, and like my family, like my dad's side of the family is like from East PA, like near Philly and
yeah.
stuff like that. So like there was sort of more of a like, but like, I mean,
I don't think you
if
can
you
tell
can
people how
separate
to.
yourself from like the shit that he's done in his personal life and just
Yeah,
listen to Noah's like the Noah's Ark routine itself, like it's fucking good. Like, like it's
yeah. Like
fucking
I
good.
don't like when people start telling others how they should react to something, and if
Yeah.
it's your personal choice if you still want to listen to something or not, or watch something. Like, for example, there's this UK band who were uh, quite a big part of my like teenage years, called Lost Prophets, and it turned out that the lead
Hmm.
singer was like an actual pedophile. Um,
Yikes.
and I'm like, I was in a weird, like, this is me and my friend, we were hanging out together the first time we heard about it, and we looked at each other and went, kind of want to listen to them. Do you? And we're like, we'll do it one last time. We're like, the album's a fucking banger. We'll listen to it one last time, and then that's it. But now, like, I cannot physically listen to that band without thinking of him being a pedo, and I'm like, that makes me uncomfortable. I don't want to do that.
Yeah.
Like, same with Michael Jackson, whether that's true or not. I watched that documentary, and now that's all I can think about when I listen to him. So I'm like, I don't want to listen to that because it's making me physically uncomfortable listening to it. But like, if someone else is like, yeah, but I fucking love his music and like he's a legend, and I'm thinking of that, and I'm like, well, I'm not going to tell you to stop listening to it. That's how you feel about it. As long as like I say, same with Marilyn Manson. I'm like, yeah, he's an asshole, but it's not like to the point where I'm like, I can't listen to this anymore.
Hmm.
Um, and I don't know if that makes me like a bad person or not. Like,
No.
I should be enraged that I can't listen. I shouldn't be listening to this guy because he, fucking does this and that. And
I think there. Well, I
it's
think
just
there's like
it's
a
such a
fine
deep
line,
thing.
right?
Like, you can't tell how you're going to react to something.
Right.
So
I think there's a couple different ways to look at it, right? It's one of these things of like, so it's really easy, right, in the art world, right, where you have like there's a painting on display or something, or a
yeah.
picture on the internet. You can consume that for free. You're not giving that particular artist any money. You're not supporting
Mm,
that particular person in any way. You're
yeah.
just looking at an image, right? So whether or not the person is a piece of shit doesn't really matter. You're not giving them any money.
So
I
what you're
think
saying is I should illegally torrent all of Marilyn Manson's albums.
um not
Because
I'm
I'd
not
I'd be okay with
advocating
that.
for piracy. No,
Nope.
not at all. But I do think that there's like a weird gray area where you start getting into like supporting monetarily because that's like encouraging these people. Like if you
Yeah.
but like if you find Marilyn Manson's music on YouTube, not uploaded by Marilyn Manson, I
Click away.
mean, like at that point, okay, or
Yeah.
whatever.
As long as you're not going around saying, he's innocent. Like, no, fuck
Oh
off.
yeah,
He's
no. So
definitely
that's
an
the thing
ass.
is like I feel like has to be some amount of disconnect between the work somebody produces and the person themselves.
Yeah.
Not complete disconnect, obviously, because
No,
especially in the
like, I
arts,
think
but
again,
like
it's not a disconnect, it's an acknowledgement, I think, is probably the
yeah,
better term to use. Like, you acknowledge that this person acts this way or has done this thing, and if you're continuing to support them, that's on
that's a
you. And
choice. And that's
Yeah,
a choice.
like
Yeah.
I still fucking love watching RuPaul's Drag Race, and everyone knows RuPaul's like just not a very nice person as well. But I'm like, but the outfits are so fabulous, and the lip syncs, it's like, man, like that's like my one thing that gets me through the week. Sometimes, like, oh, it's Saturday, I can watch RuPaul, and it's like, yeah, I know I'm giving them money from indirectly, watching it on Netflix, but whatever.
Yeah, there's that. I
I
mean,
think
hey, if you can like
people
watch
think
it on
too
actual.
if you think too hard about it, you're not going to enjoy anything anymore.
Oh
That's
yeah. Yeah.
basically how it's going to go down.
I mean, have you seen the Good Place?
Yes, I love that show.
So like that's
That is
like
yeah, that is a great example actually.
yeah, just like everything we do, it just has like because everything's so interconnected now.
We're all going to hell, just
It's
enjoy
yeah,
it.
yeah. We're all going to hell. The points are rigged. Everything you do has
Uh-huh.
an exponential number of bad consequences.
And I love that, the difference between the people who have been like really disgustingly shitty human beings, and then the guy who's like, it's because I drank that almond milk sometime. It's like they're in the same place. It's like, really though, like, don't
I
beat
mean,
yourself up about it.
yeah, yeah, but yeah, definitely. I definitely agree with you though. Like people deserve what they get for what they do.
Yeah.
But I don't think that should negate you consuming content.
Yeah, like
So like it's good that you
especially at
still
a time like this, there's if it's any
well,
little,
yeah.
like I say, any little thing that's going to get you through the day, even if it's something that, other people might not necessarily agree with, if it's going to make you go another day in lockdown and make you smile or whatever, or speak to you in some way, then just fucking consume that thing. At least
Hmm.
that's what I tell myself when I just keep eating like pudding every day.
Yeah. I definitely think it can be like an issue. Like I even know there are people, some friends of mine, and I know it's even wider than that of like people who are just like, I really like this thing. I don't want to know anything about the person that makes it because I like
Yeah, though that's it's kind of one of those things you have to do, isn't it?
yeah. Because they're just like, I just don't want to find anything. I just don't want to find out anything bad about this person, and then you're like, oh fuck, now I can't watch that
This
show
guy
anymore. I
like
can't listen
fucking
to that
kicked a
music
puppy
anymore.
one time. Oh god.
Yeah,
Yeah. Uh,
it's bad. But
God,
like,
you guys are gonna be so disappointed when you find out how many like children I just drowned in that pool that time. Uh, that was a weird party.
well, hey, shit happens.
Yeah.
But so what was it like going from an apprenticeship to actually doing tattoos? Like I've had people tell me that they like want me to like design a tattoo, or like why haven't you, like you should go into tattoos or like something like. I'm like, first of all, like I'm flattered, but no. I have such an
Yeah.
anxiety over
It's
my art being on somebody's body
Yeah, I
forever.
think people who necessarily aren't artists themselves in particular kind of think that if you can draw, you can be a tattoo artist. Like, oh, you should get into it. It's like
Hmm.
it is a big fucking labor of love to be a tattoo artist. And I think a lot of people don't realize just how big until
Yeah.
you get into it. Like, I never like technically completed an apprenticeship because and it's a really long story, so I don't want to go into it. But I started at one place as an apprentice. My mental health got in the way, so they got rid of
Hmm.
me because they were like, "Go and look after yourself." And I'm like, "Okay." And then I got another one, um, and I was an apprentice there. And then we we thought we were going to be moving house, so I ended up moving to another studio before I'd actually finished my apprenticeship and stuff. So it turned out that studio I went to kind of were not very nice people, and to the point where I quit tattooing, because I was
Oh
like,
wow.
I'm done with this shitty industry, because it's a very toxic industry. Like, this is something I don't think people know enough about when they're getting into it. Like, it's a really, really bitchy place. And this is why Twitch has kind of drawn me in so much, because it's like almost the entire opposite of tattoo
Yeah.
industry. That everyone seems so like wholesome and supportive, and like no matter how good or bad you are, whatever stage you're at in art, people are like willing to help you out and give you tips and advice. And it's almost like, say, the complete opposite in tattooing. People just shitting on each other constantly, like tearing each other's
Interesting.
work apart, and like they're like trying to step on other people to get one up on you. And it's like, it's just really horrible. And I found myself kind of sucked into that and becoming like this horrible bitchy person, and it got me in trouble, and uh
Hmm.
like, I just did not like who I was becoming. I didn't like the people I was around. I ended up leaving, and I felt like some relief from leaving, and I sold all my gear and thought I wasn't going to come back. So, there is that to be aware of if you do want to get into it. Like, finding the right studio and the right environment is so important. But you just honestly don't know till you're in it, because I thought I went to all these places thinking these are really great people and I admire them and I admire their work, and um, I still do, like a lot of them. I still do, but there was, you know, unfortunately at this last studio, a couple of people kind of made it really difficult for me. So
Yeah.
yeah, I kind of forgot where I was going with this.
No worries.
um, yeah, it just it's tough to get into, and you have to be prepared on so many levels that no one can prepare you for. So if you can draw and then you go, oh, I'll get in a tattoo apprenticeship, just be prepared to kind of like go through a lot of shit and stuff that is probably going to be kind of cruel and unfair in some ways. If you don't have that and you get lucky and kind of get in with a nice studio and a nice mentor, and you don't deal with that side of tattooing, I am so glad if that happens to you, basically. And I hope that that is the case more often than not. um it's a weird one because it's all, like I say, it's a very like old school, it's all traditional, and like, oh well, this is how I had my apprenticeship, I had to do this and I had to do that, and it's like, I'm going easy on you. I used to have to like run 5 miles to go and grab like a fucking sandwich, and then like scrub my boss's shoes with a toothbrush, and then they'd like kick me in the ass while I'm doing. I'm just like, yeah, but why does that mean you have to do that to me?
Yeah.
It's so weird. Like, some people are just, they kind of power trip on it a bit, I feel like. I'm not saying mine was bad. I had like a fairly easy apprenticeship, I have to say. Like, it just kind of played out that yeah, stuff went a bit wrong.
How do you get over the anxiety though of your art is now the thing that you drew is now on a person
um
pretty much
it's
permanently?
pretty much just, the more you do it, the easier you feel about it, like anything. um and I think, having people who trust you enough, like no matter what you do on them, may be foolish on their part, but you know, like a lot of people who I did my first ever tattoos on were like good friends of mine, for example. And I said, like, if this is shit, it's on you forever. Like, yeah, I don't care. Like, just do it. You need to get the practice in, and it's a free tattoo for me. So having like mates who are kind of willing to do that does help a lot.
Interesting.
And a lot of people who I did tattoo as an apprentice quite a few of them have stuck around with me like on my whole journey, even after I had a year out and I came back and they're like, "Oh my God, I'm so glad you're back," because like I wasn't sure who else I was going to go to, which was such a relief to hear because I thought I was going to come back and people were going to be like, "Oh, why the fuck are you here again?" I think I had like one snide comment from someone and I just deleted it and that was it. And it was all like nothing but love and support. So I was like, phew,
That's good.
like,
Yeah.
thank God, because I felt awful. But
Yeah,
yeah,
I can just remember like there was this one thing like a friend of mine wanted to have a like a full back piece
oh,
of like in of like a fallen angel in like a post-apocalyptic cityscape.
yeah,
And I was like, I will draw this for you just if you decide to get the tattoo, you must promise me that this is only a reference and you'll take it to like
yeah,
an
yeah.
actual like artist who will like
Who will
take
do
it
it
as a
justice?
concept. And like because I look back at that image now, I like drew it in like 2015 or something like that,
Mm.
and it's fucking garbage. The anatomy's all janked up, the perspective's all off.
Yeah.
Like everything
Eh,
about it is just horrible from like my like 6 years later perspective. And I'm just like, fuck. If I was a tattoo artist and like someone came into the shop and like I had done like work on them 5 years ago, I would like quit. I would just walk away.
Yeah, it
Like,
is tough because like there's definitely days where you go, "Oh my God, that did not turn out how I wanted it to." But like it's how they say everyone's their own worst critic. It's usually if the customer's like dead chuffed with it and they're like, "It's great, I love it." And in the back of your head you're like, but it could have been better. Like I could have like that line went wrong, but
I
hopefully they won't notice. It's,
I
like it does happen. It
unironically
happens all the
spelled it
time.
no regrets.
Yeah. Like it happens way more than you think it does. Like people kind of going, but there's ways of working around it too. Like, like I can just shade over that bit I went wrong. you know, um, it's like any kind of traditional art, there's gonna potentially be mistakes, but the more you do it, the more
Nice.
you kind of get confident with it, and the next thing you can do a fucking rose with your eyes closed because you've done them 1,000 times.
I do like the idea of like, oh, I could just shade over it. I would just
Yeah,
be like, "Oh, you came in for a full blackout, right?" Like you
yeah.
just that's because that's what I did a silhouette of a butterfly. I hope that's okay.
It's just one of those really rare, like totally black butterflies.
Yeah, yeah, just completely black. No
Yeah, but like, oh
pun.
my God, I've done some garbage tattoos. I swear, like, I mean, that was kind of part of why I left because I was like, I'm not doing anything justice here because I was in a
Mm,
really bad place mentally, and that affects my work a lot.
right.
So, this is why I only go to the studio 3 days a week now because of my mental health, and I very strictly stick to that. And like, no matter how busy we are, I'm like, I'm not doing more than 3 days a week because I just burn out and then my work suffers. So, I have so much respect for people who just can do a full day working week in any job.
Right. Yeah. I know I'm not cut out for that kind of stuff. Like I have to make my own schedule. Like I
Yeah,
do
like
stuff every single day, but I'm
it's
doing
not from
so
lack of
much.
trying.
Yeah.
Like I've done so much work for free for like full time and more and stuff like that. It's not
Yeah.
like I've not tried. So yeah, I think I've got a good kind of balance with it now, and it also gives me time to stream, which is a bonus.
Right.
So yeah,
Yeah. No, like I said, like before when we were talking about school and stuff, like those couple of years, like I took between film school and art school, like I worked jobs, like and
yeah,
if anything, like
a real
my
job.
mental health issues just got worse and worse every single day. It
Yeah.
wasn't like I'm not cut out for normal life at
No,
all.
that's also why tattooing is if you can get through all the bullshit and push through till the end, like I'm finally at a place now where I'm in a nice studio with good people. And the main thing is I've always wanted to be my own boss, because then if, you know, if I am ill, I can have a fucking day off and no one's gonna
Hmm.
be pissed off at me. And, I mean, yeah, I might lose some money, but it's on me then. It's not like,
Right.
it's me managing my own time, managing my own workload, stuff like that is what I want out of being self-employed. So I kind of have that now, which is great. But when I say that I have that now, I don't, because we're in lockdown, and I don't have any income because we've not been tattooing for several months. But that's another thing. There's
Yeah.
like no support really for self-employed people in terms of that.
Right.
Um, you get like, I mean, I got like, they do, the UK government has been doing these kind of chunks of money, which is based off your last tax return.
Hmm.
So for someone who's been self-employed for a while and has like a good income, great. They get like 80%. It's based on like 80% of last year's earnings or something. But last year was my first ever tax return. So I got like £300 to last me however fucking long this is gonna last.
Right.
So I have like no income, which is why I'm trying really hard at the streaming thing and trying to get commissions and stuff as well. Yeah.
Yeah, it's rough out there, you know.
Yeah.
Like I'm lucky to still have a support system, you know, like you said you had moved home and so like
Well,
I
I mean, I live with my partner now, but he's my support now because
right.
he's been working through the whole thing because he can work from home. He's a web developer, so like I've got a roof over my head and food on the table. I've not got that to worry about, but it just kind of sucks that he has to provide that for both of us. Like,
Right. No.
yeah.
Yeah, it's definitely, it sucks. Like I didn't get a stimulus at all. Like just
Mm,
I'm not eligible for
yeah.
getting a stimulus pack like at all here, even though ours was only $600 for everybody. Like
Yeah. I
not
mean,
not even like, oh yeah, 80% of your nope. I like
like
I
I can't even go on unemployed here though because my partner earns over a certain amount, and
mm,
because we live in the same household, apparently all our money counts as one, even though we're not married, and it's dumb.
weird. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a bit messed up. But yeah, I don't want to go into all that because I can rant
Fair.
and rave about the UK benefits system. I say benefits, I guess welfare is more, it's, I even hate that we call it benefits when it's like, if as if it's like, oh, this is a benefit, like, oh, this is great. It's like, no, it's welfare. It's like, if you hit rock bottom, this is your safety net. But it's not there half the time for people. So
Mhm.
I don't know. It's a bit of a mess at the minute.
Yeah, it seems like the pandemic has really highlighted that around the
Hmm.
world. Um,
Yeah, really
yeah,
has.
there are seldom few places where the infrastructure for that sort of stuff is actually okay. But yeah, it's wild. But I don't want to end on a down note here. So, is there
No. Sorry.
anything that you want to impart to the audience? Is there any like final thoughts you have? I know I'm trying to get I know everybody's like who's listened to this far has already, if you skipped over the ads, shame on you. But if you did skip over the ads, go to patreon.com/Folsham_art. For $1, you can hop in my Discord in a cool Patreon only channel and ask us questions. Normally, this part of the podcast, moving forward, I'm trying. I would like to get audience feedback, get questions that we can answer from the audience. But until we get like a bunch of
Ah,
people getting in there asking
yeah.
questions that we can like give advice on or whatever at the end of the show, the standard thing is just, do you, Dozy, have any like final remarks, like anything that you want to kind of say to the audience?
Yeah, pay me.
Fair
I'm
enough.
joking. um, no, I don't know. Like, I have a way of bringing this, bringing the mood down. I think sometimes,
Nah,
like
you're
I say,
fine.
once I start going on a subject, I'm like, "Ugh, we'll get to the parts where I start getting angry at it." But yeah, as kind of shit as lockdown's been, it's got me into streaming. And I this is how I've met you and a whole
Mhm.
bunch of other cool people, and I feel like it's it's a whole new part of my life to focus on now, and if I didn't have that, I would be really fucking depressed. So yeah, like, come and hang out on mine streams and on Falsham streams, and get involved with communities who are actually nice to each other and wholesome and supportive, and actually, like, knowledgeable as well. Like, there's a
Yeah.
whole fucking free resource out there that people are just giving away. Like, you don't have to pay to be on Twitch. One of
Yeah.
the few places where you don't have to pay to get content these days,
That's
like,
true.
make the fucking most of it while you can. Like, if you're sat at home all day off work on furlough or whatever's going on, like, you're not working, come and hang out. And you know I am always open to questions on tattoo industry and stuff as well, and how to get into it. I'm always giving people advice on my streams, and like, even I get people to even like send me their portfolio and stuff, and I will review it for free, because
Oh,
I'm like,
nice.
I want people to do things the right way and not have to go through the shit I went through as much as possible. So, yeah, just
Oh yeah,
enjoy what you can do with this time.
exactly. What I didn't touch on when we talked about like university and stuff like that, you can indeed like do creative things by yourself,
Oh,
self
totally,
taught and all
yeah.
that stuff. And honestly, like if you're into drawing, if you're into art, or really anything creative, music, I believe there's even people who write on Twitch. Like
Yeah,
there are
yeah.
so much more about Twitch than just video games and stuff like that.
Mm.
um like you may not be able to have a professor physically show you, like grab your hand and physically put like the pencil in your hand the correct way, but there are various Discord communities and Twitch streamers and stuff where you can send them your artwork, and like we can kind of go over things about like anatomy or whatever it may be. um and like we are still in lockdown a year on now.
Oh
Like
my god, right?
we're if there's ever been a better time to put yourself into a new hobby, like I've always told people, if you
Yeah.
can write, if you can physically make letters with your hand, you can draw. Like all drawing is identifying shapes and putting them on paper.
Yeah,
All
absolutely.
writing is
Anyone can
identifying
draw,
shapes.
but also, like, if you are just starting out, the worst thing you can do is compare yourself to someone who's been doing it for years. So,
Yeah.
you're like, how can I possibly do that? Like, that person started off in the same place you're in, and like,
Hmm.
just go easy on yourself. Enjoy it. If you're not enjoying it, then what's the point,
You gotta walk before you gotta crawl before you can learn to walk, and you gotta
Yeah.
walk before you can run, right? So it's one of those things. And in Twitch in general, as far as I have seen it, I have yet to come across a single person in any of the creative uh genres on Twitch that is unaccepting. Like everybody
Mm.
that I've ever run across on Twitch is very welcoming, very supportive, and
Yeah, because people are glad that you're
yeah.
there. They're like, oh, someone wants to watch what I'm doing. Like, that's really cool. So people
Mhm.
are thankful of it. And yeah, I mean, not, don't get me wrong, there's varying degrees of professionalism, but
Right.
you find so many really great streamers. So yeah, I have loved getting involved. We really have.
Yeah, at various levels of professionalism. I know I try very hard to temper my critique of people's artwork unless that's what they're specifically looking for. I know
Yeah,
I
no,
have
that's the thing. You got to do the compliment sandwich. The classic, good thing, something to improve on, and then another good thing.
right, right. I kind of I think I agree with that. I was just recently talking to some friends who were like, "That's actually bad. You should only like say positive things, and like people will."
Well, no,
I
because
was
then how
like,
will someone grow and develop? Like,
I see. That's what I was saying. They were saying like positive feedback is more like helpful. I was like, yeah, but like I don't know. Maybe it's just my weird psychosis, but like I almost would prefer no one say anything good about my art and only tell me what I need to improve on, so that way I
really?
can focus on what to
Oh
improve. Like,
no, that kind of happened to me, and yeah, I I quit because I'm a baby who can't handle it.
well,
So,
see, that's one thing.
go easy.
That's another thing I really liked about university is like we had to critique each other's artwork,
Oh yeah. I
and
mean,
I
to be
loved it.
fair,
I
there's a
loved it
difference
so
between
much.
critiquing, like actual constructive criticism, and just being told you work shit. So
Oh
yeah,
yeah,
I
yeah.
can take
Like
constructive criticism. I enjoy it, definitely. And I like being told that I can improve on things because I'm like, cool, thanks. I'm gonna try that now.
right.
Yeah, that's I enjoy that. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing is like university really got me over like the just negative comments, like with no
Mm,
constructive feedback in there at all. I
yeah,
can
but
just be
also the
like, all right,
just
fuck you.
positive
Like
comments. Like, I
that's
like
is
it.
equally bad.
I like it,
Yeah.
but why do you like it? We like in in our critique sessions at uni, they had this like ongoing joke of like, how does it make you feel?
Right. Yeah.
That's like the question they ask, and we just start doing it in a stupid voice, like, how does it make you feel?
Right. Yeah, and our professors would just be like, you can't just say you like it or you don't like it. You have to give a
Yeah,
reason
you have
why.
to say why.
Yeah.
Mm,
So
yeah.
that like really helps me kind of just write off anybody who's just negative for the sake of being negative.
Mm.
Like whatever. Okay, you don't like it. Go find someone else's art to
It's like,
like
cool,
look
thanks,
at.
bye.
All right. Yeah, cool.
Yeah.
But like if you have something like constructive to say about it, then cool. Like I'll listen to what you have to say and I will think about it and
I
whether or
feel
not
like
you're right.
there's I don't know, because sometimes there's like the uninvited constructive criticism which grinds me a bit. Like when you're proud of something, you want to put it out there and you're like, I'm really happy with this. Look at
Hmm.
my thing. And then someone goes, yeah, but you could have done this. And I'm just like, oh, I didn't fucking ask you. Like,
Yeah, and that's again, it's my own weird mental thing. Like I never am not appreciative of constructive feedback. Like
yeah.
I thrive on
I
being
think the more
metaphorically
you do it,
spat
people
on.
kind of people like if it's something you do regularly on your stream, people will pick up on that and they go, "Oh, I'll show this to Jeff because he will give me some actual like useful advice on it." Rather than if they just want to go like, "Here's the thing, it looks pretty. Tell me it's pretty. Come to my stream,
Yeah.
I'll tell you it looks good."
Yeah, and that's sort of like what I've like been getting better at is I've been through like a couple Discord communities where they like very specifically have like critique channels and then non-critique
Mm,
channels and like
yeah,
do not critique people's art in the non-critiques, sections, and because
yeah,
not
yeah.
everybody wants to be, critiqued and have their art broken down and told like what they're doing good and what they can like improve on.
Hmm.
So like I'm always very like, whenever an artist comes into to like my stream and I'm like, hey, you want to like share your artwork and stuff, like, and if you want me to give feedback on it, like let me know. Otherwise, if you want me to show it on stream or not show it on stream, because some people just want you to see and they don't want other people, to see it and all
Yeah,
that kind
I
of
think
stuff.
it's boundaries, isn't it? And that's
Yeah.
good. You're putting them in place. So.
Like, because originally, like, right after, like, I basically went into streaming right after getting out of school because, I was just immediately jumping into working for myself and like not even trying to get jobs at art studios or anything, and streaming has been a way for me to like do my work,
Yeah.
just like keep me focused so I'm not doom scrolling all day. But like it was something very difficult in the beginning for me. Like when some artists would like come in and like show me their stuff, I would just immediately jump into critique mode because that's what I'd been
Mm,
doing for 5 years. Like,
yeah.
but yeah, no, like Twitch is great, and I can confidently say now, if you want people to see your artwork, and you don't care about critique or don't want it, or you do want it or whatever, do stop by my stream because I'll look at your art and tell you it's good if that's all you want to hear. If you want critique, I'll give you critiques.
Tell me I'm pretty.
You're pretty, Dozy. You're wonderful and lovely. And I'm not just saying that.
Now I want the truth. I want the critique.
Well, you
Let me get my list.
you could be like 5 feet taller, like
You could stop being such a bitch.
I really like it when the people I hang out with are 14 feet tall, so if you can get on that, like
Okay, I'll try. I'll find some big shoes.
Oh, but yeah, it's been wonderful talking to you, Dozy. Do
Yeah,
you want
same.
to shout out your links and like where people can find you on the internet?
Yeah, I mainly hang out on MySpace these days. No.
Nice. Nice.
So
Actually,
my
we're moving over to Space Hay. Okay.
what is that? Is that
Oh, you
like the
haven't heard
fake?
about
Is
this?
that the fake MySpace that's like
No,
popped
okay,
up?
so like there's like a kid who, and I can say this because I'm old as fuck, but there was like a kid who was like born like in the year 2000 or something like that, or like very close, like somewhere around there,
Yeah.
who had only heard like legend of MySpace, and he like
Oh god, that makes
dug
you feel well
up
old.
he like dug up like old like archived pages and like video of like people like looking at MySpace and built a new it's everything MySpace top
Um,
8, the like the customizable pages
the
of like
question is,
HTML code and, like,
did you keep Tom as a friend, and did you keep him in your top 8? Yes or no?
um I don't remember if I kept him as a friend, but I sure as fuck did not keep him in my top 8. No, of course not.
Okay, good. You're not a total
No.
psycho then, yeah.
No. I would love to just that's like the one guy. You have tons and tons of friends. You only have a top 1 and
Top
it's
one, and it's
Tom.
Tom. Tom
It's
from MySpace,
just
yeah.
Tom from MySpace, but you have hundreds of friends. That would be I want to see that person's MySpace.
Oh,
Oh, like
great.
Space Hay is a thing, and I'm
Do you think
honestly
Tom's
I
on Space
haven't.
Hey?
I would
Maybe we'll
love
add
it.
him as a friend and
I
we'll
would
both do that. Just
fucking
have him
love
as
it.
our one top person.
Dude, that
Yeah.
guy is worth so much money because he sold MySpace at its
Yeah.
peak, and he's
Didn't he
like,
sell
yeah.
it to like Justin Timberlake or something?
I don't remember who he sold it to, but like people
That's
make fun
something
of
I heard.
MySpace and like try and like poke fun at him and stuff on social media, and he's like, I don't give a fuck. I'm a fucking millionaire. Like
Yeah.
whatever. Like I sold that thing, and like
Dude, it
okay,
was great. I loved that platform. Yeah.
yeah.
But
Uh,
anyway, I feel like I keep I'm
uh,
not on MySpace. I'm not on Space 8. You can find me on Instagram at Dozy Tattoo, all one word. Facebook is the same, Dozy Tattoo. And Twitch is Dozy Streams, specifically because I didn't know if it was just going to stick to art and tattoo stuff. So that is why it's Dozy Streams. It's general. So yeah,
Fair enough.
come and hang out. And I
Oh
have
yeah.
like hopefully, I mean, you're going to be on my stream at some point as well.
Yeah.
So
By the time people are listening to this, I will have already been on
well, I hope
the
you enjoyed that. I'm very sorry about all the things you did and said.
Yeah, I guarantee I will get myself into trouble. No, I'm gonna cry. Having like So this podcast probably sheesh. This is gonna come out, I want to say March 19th, I
Okay.
think. It's gonna come out in a little bit. I got, I try and keep these things like stacked in case I have difficulties scheduling, recording sessions with people.
Hmm.
Um, but yeah, I'm supposed to be on your stream next Friday, the 26th of February, right? So,
Yeah.
I'm looking forward to it. Like I said, I've been practicing time draws for like 2 years now because I do it
Yeah.
almost every month, and
Nice.
I do it on a
You're gonna
15
you're
minute
gonna fucking
timer.
smash
So
me. You know, I'm
I do it
the
on
past
15-minute timer, so 20 minutes. Ooh,
yeah, you're gonna have a breeze. I have
yeah.
the I've been struggling because I mean, well, last time I did the it's called Double the Fun for those who don't know. It's like a game show type thing I'm trying out. So we kind
I
of
like it.
have 20 minutes to draw a prompt that's provided to us from the chat, and we do a few rounds of it. And then the chat votes on which ones they like best,
Hmm.
declaring the ultimate winner. But last time, like everything that could have gone wrong kind of went wrong. Like I spilled my drink all over my desk, and like all these sound alerts and stuff I'd put on to try and make it fancy just broke, and it went crazy. Just so
Man.
hopefully it won't be quite as messy this time.
Well, I am looking forward to it, and it should be fun. I
Yeah,
hope.
double the fun, hopefully.
Yeah. Hell yeah. Well, thank you so much for being here, Dozy. Everybody, go check out Dozy on the internet and all the places that she just mentioned. I'll make sure to pop the links into various descriptions, whether it's YouTube or the Anchor stuff. So wherever you listen to this podcast, if you can see the description, whether or not it hyperlinks, you can always copy and paste into the various browsers that you prefer to use. And we'll see you next time, everybody. Have a week.
Thank you. Bye.